If you're a high school catcher that wants to play college baseball, your ability to throw can be one of the biggest separators that you have in the recruiting process. Not your ability to receive or block, it's your ability to throw that's going to set you apart. Most catchers try to piece together random bits of information and drills that they find on the internet, and they end up never coming close to their actual throwing potential. And it's not because they lack the talent or they're not working hard enough, but it's because they're approaching their throwing development totally wrong. And as a result, they never properly learn how to control the running game. They misunderstand what they should actually be working on, and they never come close to their real ceiling in terms of their throw, even if their metrics look good. Most of you high school catchers believe that if you can just get your pop time under a 2.0 or add a few miles an hour of velocity to your throw, that college coaches will finally start showing interest in you. So you guys chase drill progressions in an attempt to lower your pop time. You guys throw weighted balls in an attempt to throw a little bit harder. And I can't blame you for thinking that this is correct. Because when you guys look at the PBR or the perfect game rankings, the catchers that are making commitments often have the best measurables. So it naturally feels like those are the numbers that you need to get if you want to play college baseball. And to a point, you're not wrong. You do need those metrics in order to gather interest and compete with those guys. But here's where this begins to fall apart. Neither your pop time or your velocity will actually matter if a coach looks at you and doesn't believe that your throw will translate to his level. This is what we call in the baseball world projectability. A scout or a college coach is making an assessment as to if your skills project to their level of competition. Two catchers can post the exact same pop time at a showcase. One guy looks rushed and inefficient with his throw. The other guy looks effortless and fluent. One throw projects to the college level and the other does not. College coaches can tell the difference immediately. Pop time and velocity are essentially just indicators as to a catcher's ability to throw out runners. If we can shift our focus away from strictly pop time and velocity and towards the result that these metrics are actually trying to achieve, a higher caught stealing percentage in game, we'll start to find that our pop time and our velocity metrics naturally start to improve as we get better at our job of throwing out runners. Most of our ability to prevent the other team from getting extra bases is going to come down to how well we can get our pitcher to execute on what we want. The goal behind any technique that we use to control the running game is to keep the runners on base uncomfortable. But if we don't properly focus on controlling the running game and that runner gets a huge running start on us, our pop time or our velocity does not matter if that runner goes in standing up to second base. And if there's a scout sitting in the stands, your mom may be excited as to how fast you threw that baseball. But to the trained baseball eye, this tells me that you're more focused on yourself as opposed to helping your team actually win and affecting the game. Instead, we need to actually control the running game well enough to actually give ourselves a chance at throwing that runner out. And then once we have that chance, that's when things like our pop time or our velocity actually start to matter. By controlling the running game properly, we're going to increase our ability to move more efficiently, which will decrease our pop time, but we'll also put ourselves in a position to apply more force to the baseball for a longer period of time, which will result in more velocity. The biggest pop time and velocity killers that I see from high school catchers often comes down to a lack of anticipation. I see a lot of catchers with the inability to create momentum into their throw. The entire sequence of their throw suffers. But if we can synchronize our movements and our cadence with the game as a whole, now we're going to start to perform much more efficiently with less active effort. If we don't work to create some kind of strategy with our pitching staff, I'm never going to be fully able to anticipate a runner taking off for second base. And that means that you're always going to be a tick behind, not only in your pop time and your velocity metrics, but also in your ability to throw runners out consistently and raise your caught stealing percentage. If you're only chasing metric development like your pop time and your velocity, you're going to stall your overall development as a catcher who can actually compete at the next level, which is ultimately what you guys all want. I see a lot of catchers and they tell me that they want a better pop time and they want better velocity on their throws. These guys want better throwing metrics because they believe that that will increase their chances of of playing college baseball. While it is undoubtedly true that better metrics can help you get exposure, once we have that initial attention, we're then going to be judged on our ability to help a college team win baseball games. If the deeper goal is controlling the running game and actually getting playing time at the college level, by focusing purely on pop time and velocity, you're merely scratching the surface in terms of what your responsibilities are going to be once you get to that next level. If you could begin to understand your throw as a whole and how it fits into the larger game, you'd have a much easier time understanding how to actually decrease your pop time and increase your velocity in a way that is actually enticing to college coaches. If you want to increase your caught stealing percentage, decrease your pop time, and increase your velocity, stop thinking about your throw as separate parts. A lot of high school catchers think that footwork, transfers, and arm action are all isolated. Instead, you need to start thinking about your throw to second base as a sequence. And when you hear the word sequence, I want you to think sequence of events. So if we can begin to think about our throw to second base in this way, we'll start to understand that if any part of our sequence is off or inefficient, we're going to have to compensate somewhere else within that throwing sequence. Because a lot of high school catchers either don't understand or neglect the overall rhythm of the game in front of them, we see them struggle to stay in rhythm with their pitcher and properly anticipate when that runner is taking off. That's when we see guys start to rush the throws, their movements become super inefficient. But if we can learn how to stay in rhythm with our pitcher, make proper reads on the runner at first base, and begin to put ourselves in positions that allow us to make decisions without losing momentum, we're going to find that we actually start to flow with the game. The throw now becomes smooth and consistent, and that's when you're going to start to see your best metrics show up. And your ability to hit these metrics is going to start to feel more simple than it ever has. These are the moments when the game feels like it's moving in slow motion because you're in tune with the heartbeat of the game itself. I once asked a friend of mine who's a college coach in my area what specifically he looks for in a catcher's throw when he's out recruiting. This guy was a former outfielder at the college level, but he still had the ability to recruit a high-level program and know what to look for in a high-level catcher. His answer was super simple. He told me, I look at how efficient their exchange is. Essentially, that's their catch and throw mechanics and how smooth and fluently they can get the ball out of their hand. If a catcher looks smooth, controlled, and accurate, that tells him that that catcher is not going to get reckless as the speed of the game increases at the college level. It doesn't matter if you cheat your pop time at a showcase or in a controlled environment. The coaches in the stands that are watching you know exactly what it looks like if it's going to translate to the next level. If you don't pass the initial eye test of what they're used to seeing at their level, they never even hold the stopwatch up to get your metrics. Once you pass that initial eye test, that's when your metrics actually do start to matter. Now the coach can have actual data to back up what he's seeing and data to then possibly present the rest of his coaching staff with. The most common pushback that I get on these things is, well, coaches and events are still publishing numbers. Those numbers do matter, but they only matter in the right order. A decent pop time and velocity might get a coach to actually take a look at you. But once you've got their attention, they're no longer evaluating numbers and they're evaluating you and how you move. And if your movements don't project to the next level, then your metrics don't hold any weight. Most high school catchers never reach their full throwing potential, not because they aren't capable, but because they train for exposure instead of projectability. They chase numbers and measurables instead of trying to understand how those numbers and measurables fit into the bigger game. They rush progress instead of trying to build a foundation that's going to carry them through the entirety of their career. Over time, that approach is quietly going to cap their ceiling. If your throw as a catcher isn't projectable, no metric is going to bail you out. But if you can understand your throw as a complete sequence and start to train it in a way that actually helps you control the running game and give yourself a chance to throw out more runners, that's when you're going to start to see your pop time go down and your velocity go up with less active effort. And if this video helped you realize that maybe you're prioritizing the wrong things right now in terms of your development, that's the entire point of this channel. I post these videos to help catchers and their family think clearly about development and recruiting, whether you ever choose to work directly with me or not. If you're a catcher or the family of one and you want to take that next step, you can go ahead and check out the link in the description of this video. That's where I help catchers that are serious about doing this thing the right way through a program that I developed called College Ready Catcher. And if you want to keep building context, you can check out my last video where I break down the different stance categories and their variations and which one that you as a high school catcher should be using and implementing into your own game.